following program is intended for mature audiences.
I'm going to be honest with you, bro.
I'm going to beat up John Cena.
Oh, it's a great idea.
So who the hell do you think you are?
I was going to dress up like Bruce the Barber Beefcake, cutting and strutting, and then I was going to beat up John Cena. Wonderful. I mean, come on. What's more fun than beating up John Cena?
Suplex City, bitch.
Beat up John Cena!
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
And welcome, everybody, to the Weekly Suplex. I am your host, Brian Thomas, joined by my co-host, Juice Springsteen. Juice, how you doing, man?
Pretty good. Another great Friday night with you.
Haha, as if. It is going to be a fun Friday night because I spent all week not knowing what the heck we should talk about. There's a lot of news. I mean, we obviously have to talk about the WWE Evolution pay-per-view that's coming up. So we'll talk a little bit about that. There's some interesting things that happened based on Raw and SmackDown that we should probably get into. But other than that, I just didn't know if we should cover a whole lot of other things. So I threw a little NXT Brooklyn, how that's shaping up so far. And maybe a little Impact Wrestling, because I got to say, they're on fire. So we'll talk a little bit about all sorts of different things this week, a little out of our normal zone. And then if we have time, maybe we can discuss a little WWE Network action, because I'm sure there's plenty of cool stuff we can talk about there.
As always.
As always. Let's start with the Evolution pay-per-view. I heard a rumor that this was possibly going to be announced within the week before. I didn't have any hard evidence other than a couple of places noting that there was talk that they might do an all-women's pay-per-view in September. It ended up being announced for October, which took away the TLC pay-per-view from you guys. And moved it to December, which I thought was interesting. And this is going to take that spot now. So, all women's pay-per-view, Stephanie McMahon announced in the ring. They're going to have over 50 women there from past, present, and, well, I guess they say future, because maybe those will be the NXT women they're considering future. But 50 women's a lot of women, and they're not going to do the whole Mae Young Classic tournament, which would have accounted for 32 of them. So I'm interested to see what they do, who they bring in. I hear that it could be some NXT UK women coming over and competing. The NXT roster is going to have a title match on there. Both SmackDown and Raw titles will be defended. The only legends that they announced so far, I think, were Trish and Lita. Is that correct?
That is all that I have put together, yeah. And it seems as if they're going to do something with Mickie James and Trish, which I think
that would be phenomenal.
Definitely.
Yeah, that will be.
If they announced this, I figured like October is a perfect thing. They have breast cancer awareness. They can plug that with everything, and it's all one big show. I like the idea. I'm glad they're finally doing this. I find it very interesting with what they may or may not do card-wise, because, yeah, storylines will be involved with your main titles and whatnot, but, I mean, this is a big chance to just load this show, because not every day do you get, like, a men's, like, a regular show, and you can bring back the legends, and it's, like, not a big deal. They can load up Mickie and Trish. They could put maybe Nia Jax versus Karma, maybe, if they wanted to. There's so many different options that they can front load this thing. Asuka, Charlotte, Rousey's going to defend the title probably, like if she wins it at the next at SummerSlam. I think there's a lot of potential here that I hope that they sell out, and I'm interested to see how it goes on pay-per-view.
I am as well. I think the fact that the Mae Young Classic did so well last year that they're bringing it back for a second show, I think that proved that there's definitely interest in an all-female card. And so I'm glad that they're doing this. I think it's going to be a fun thing to watch. It'll be like a little nostalgic. But, I think it's time. They have plenty of women on the roster to do it. I expect to see some sort of a battle royal to account for a lot of the women.
That's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing at all. It'll be fun. And, I one of the matches I saw floated out there was Nia Jax versus Beth Phoenix would be kind of fun. That would be an interesting one. So lots of stuff that could be happening. I'm curious. Obviously, they're not going to blow their horn too early now because we're still 3 months away from that happening. But I'm curious to see what they end up putting together for a card. You mentioned Ronda Rousey will probably be defending the title if she wins it this SummerSlam, which by all indications I'm going to say she probably will. It'll be interesting to see that if they hold off on maybe the Alexa Bliss rematch until that show, how they treat it as far as big-time shows for the company, because they have an ability to make this a real big show for the women. Maybe this is when they bring the women's tag team titles into the picture, too. I think that would be great.
Yeah, I think you can crown a new women's tag team champion there, which takes up, again, more talent you can use. Because this is, you don't know if and when they're going to do another pay-per-view like this. So you want to get every single woman you can get possible on this card, loaded again with as many solid matches as you can, and with as many storylines and emotion as you can. If you do a women's tag title, if they introduce that, and let's say something happens, and Sasha and Bayley are not feuding still, and maybe they wind up being that tag team champion, and then, I don't know. There's a lot of different ways they can go about this, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am too. I think it's going to be fun, and it'll be a good night. And I think this is going to gauge the real interest. How many people will tune in to watch this show? And if it does well, I have no doubt they'll bring it back at least once a year from then on. I think it'd be a great idea to do that. So, very exciting announcement, especially for the female talent. I mean, this is a huge step for them. They've taken so many strides in the last 2 years. It's unbelievable. Just fun to watch. And, you got to give them their props. They're phenomenal wrestlers now. It used to be that they were just there for show and nobody really paid attention. Now people look forward to it.
And that wasn't necessarily the women's fault either.
No.
The company didn't really see. Now, it's not like they didn't respect the women, but, we saw what they did put them through. But that was a different time. And times have changed. And, again, Triple H, people talk about Stephanie McMahon, and she always will tout herself as whatever, but in this movement. But I think Triple H definitely saw a vision as well and knows these girls really have the ability to, sell out or main event. And he's given them those opportunities, and they knocked it out of the park starting in NXT. And now with this is just the next step. So,
yeah,
exciting times.
The best thing that ever happened to female wrestling was NXT.
Yeah,
by far, that's where they were able to really showcase what they could do, and that's when fans started falling in love with the girls that are on the roster now. I mean, the female wrestlers that are currently there were rocking NXT 3-4 years ago, introducing themselves to us, stealing the card. And now they're doing the same on the main roster. It's awesome. It's very awesome. So I'm excited for it. I look forward to watching it. It's going to be a good night. Let's talk about things that come out of our SmackDown and Raws that happened this week. Obviously, the biggest thing to come out of it is that WWE is stuffing another Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar match down our throats.
Yeah.
I don't mind the match,
Number
but...
4.
But, I mean, you just said it. I mean, do we really need to see the same match every time Brock wrestles now?
No, but here's my thing. And I've been waiting to come up with a tweet for this. I'm trying to figure out how to word it correctly to make myself not seem like I'm just giving in to them making this match happen for the 4th time. I know the goal. We all know the goal. Get Roman the title. Make him the guy, whatever. And we know that if that's going to be the case, you'd want it to be against Brock to make it look as legitimate and give him as much whatever as possible. And it just hasn't happened. And we know that it's taken, years now. This is your chance. It doesn't matter if you put this in Brooklyn, if you put it at WrestleMania, if you put it on a Raw, a SmackDown. No one is going to probably like the result if Roman Reigns is the champion. That's just how it is for right now. He's not where they want him to be. And to get him there, you have to give him the title. You have to give it the chance. You can't just be afraid of it, and it'll never happen. So I think this is your moment. give it to him, let the crowd just eat it up and crap on it or whatever, and move on. And I think you'll be better off just leaving Brock in the rearview mirror. He can work with Daniel Cormier and move on to that stuff, and you can have Roman as the champion. I think you just get past this. Oh my God, we don't want Roman to look like a terrible draw or whatnot. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. If he's made it through this, he'll make it as the champion. If he made it through this other stuff, I think he's fine. So just get it over with, please.
Well, and that's the thing too. If they don't give Roman the title, even if they take it off him immediately with the Money in the Bank suitcase or whatever, if they don't give him this win,
suitcase.
What's what it is?
It's a briefcase.
It's the same damn thing. If they don't give it to him in this show, it will ruin him forever. I mean, he can't afford he can't afford another loss.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He just can't. I mean, you don't. I get the fans will crap on it, and I get the fans aren't going to like it. Just do it. Get it over with. Yeah, let him have a run. You know,
because we both know the crowd. You know, and WWE knows it. They've had all these other chances and have had the crowd crap on it. You know it's going to happen. You might as well just suck it up. They did it at Mania 32. That's the odd thing. They saw that it was going to be terrible, and they went along with it. And they pulled the trigger as champion, and it just didn't go. And they just were like, whatever, we're not going to do this. But now they're back at that road again. And I think, again, I agree with you. Just pull the trigger, eat the crowd, take this Brooklyn. This is the last time I think you're going to be in Brooklyn, I believe, for this set deal. I think they're going to be moving after this year. Let them have it. Let them give Roman the booze, whatever. Move on. And we won't be talking about it next year.
Yeah. And honestly, you know, the best thing they could ever do is let him eat the crowd and turn heel.
Yeah.
Finally.
And even if he doesn't,
champ.
Yeah, and I think that's something that they I'm sure that they've talked about. But even if they don't do that, do the same thing that he did whenever he beat the Undertaker. Have him come out the next night on Raw, and I'm sure the Brooklyn crowd's going to do the same thing. They're going to boo him and give him all these curse-ridden chants. And he can just say nothing and hold the belt up and walk out. Like, I mean, that doesn't even have to. He doesn't have to be a heel for that to happen either. He can just eat the crowd up and say, "Hey, I'm the guy. This is what they're doing. So hey, deal with it." Like,
yeah. I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. I really wish they would have held off a little longer on it, I don't know if they have to get the belt off Brock because they don't know what's going to happen with him. He's expensive, all that other crap.
Well, I think if he were to, sorry to interrupt, if he were to be the champion, I know they want to show Brock as a Universal Champion, like at a UFC event. I'm sure that'd be a big deal. What happens if he's the Universal Champion and he gets his clock cleaned?
Which he probably will.
Yeah, you don't want to even chance that, and then people, because that's a whole new can of worms, making him look vulnerable. I know everybody knows that UFC is real, legitimate, and whatever, but you don't want to have the guy who's your supposed champion, who everybody's already complaining about, lose like that, and you have to say, "Uh-oh, what do we do now?" That's even worse than another Roman match. So just give it to Roman and get it over with.
I agree. Other things to come out of Raw, basically, was you got Kevin Owens and Braun Strowman continuing their feud, which I think has been absolutely fantastic. Now with a new stipulation where if Kevin Owens wins anyway, DQ, count out, pinfall, submission, whatever it is, he will win Braun Strowman's Money in the Bank. I sense a screw job here.
In what way? You think Owens actually has the briefcase?
I think that Baron Corbin comes out and maybe attacks Kevin Owens, or something happens where Braun gets disqualified and Kevin Owens walks out with that briefcase.
Really? See, I don't think that happens. I think that the whole match is set up for Kevin Owens to literally just look for ways to win by whatever means necessary, getting a chair in there, hoping Braun beats him up or whatnot, and Braun just says, no, that's not going to happen, and outright beats him. I think it's just for the show. It'll be a good storyline going in, but I don't look too much into it. I think Braun's going to keep the case.
I'll say this. Jay mentioned this to me too. If you watch the segment where Baron Corbin and Kevin Owens ask for that type of match, those rules, and they get them, they're both like, all right, high-fiving, like they got a scheme. So
that's true,
I think Jay said to me that what he is thinking to pull everything out is that Kevin Owens walks out the Universal Champion at the end of the night.
And now, I can, see Jay. I don't know. He says these things, but he's not on the air, so he actually didn't say them. So I'll say them. I think it's a good idea, and I think that man, you put that, if you realize that's the same type of thing that happened when Owens won the Universal title in the first place.
Right.
You have him come in. Roman can even be champion. I don't know if you're going to pull the trigger on a triple threat like you did with Rollins at Mania 31, but however you do it, and it's Kevin Owens, and he's going to win, or he's going against Roman, and all of a sudden Triple H comes in, or he's the one backing him. It's the same type of situation. I mean, I don't mind that idea. I don't know if it's going to happen. But
I think the idea of seeing Kevin Owens walk out the Universal Champion at the end of the night would be phenomenal. I think
Brooklyn will eat that up.
Yeah, and you have a ready-made situation where Brock Lesnar is going to kick the holy hell out of Roman Reigns, and if Roman Reigns does win, it's by a squeak of the nose on his hair, basically. And what's he going to, he's got nothing left. Kevin Owens comes out and takes full advantage of it. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Good idea.
You don't
Jay.
need Braun. You don't need Braun to do that because Braun can beat him up anyway. So, but Kevin Owens, being the character he is, the kind of almost scaredy cat guy, doesn't want to get involved unless it's in his advantage, and then he'll kick your butt type guy.
Yep.
It's perfect for him. I like the idea. Jay threw it at me, and I was like, that is brilliant. But we'll see. I just feel like they're going to screw Braun out of that briefcase, but then that keeps the feud with him and Owens going, and we can drag that out a little longer.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the idea. I just wish it wouldn't come at the expense of Braun being the briefcase holder, because I love that idea. And I
agree
want
with
Braun
that.
to be the Universal Champion. I think that's such a great move that they should have pulled the trigger on before. And now it's like, we have a pay-per-view where 5 different things we should have done either years ago or a couple weeks ago just haven't happened. We have to pick one.
Yeah, I hear you. The other thing on the other side, on the blue brand, we got a new opponent for AJ Styles, and it was one of the best segments on the show that night with everything that happened. The James Ellsworth thing was hilarious. Ellsworth is fired; he's gone, and I believe that's legitimate. He's actually gone from the company now. They brought him in for a couple shows to get Carmella winning over Asuka, and now I think he's out of the company, back on his own. But they have him come out and try to get Paige to give him the title shot. She basically says, "Get out of here, you're fired." Yeah. And then as all that's going on, Samoa Joe sneaks up from behind and just demolishes AJ Styles in the ring, signs the championship contract, which I thought was going to be interesting. I couldn't believe when we got back from commercial that Paige admitted that he was the guy anyway. I was hoping she was going to be like, "What are you doing? You weren't the guy who was supposed to be there," but now his name's on the contract, so he has to be type thing. I thought that would have been better, but they went with yes, you were the guy, and I wanted to see unexpected, and he's like, what
I
was
like that how they did it too, because if you've got Paige it makes Samoa Joe look even more dominant, going against the Authority, trying to prove a point, and I think they did it pretty well, and I'm looking forward to their match at SummerSlam. Let me tell you what. Oh
goodness, yeah.
Because I know you, Brian. You've been a TNA fan for life, so I'm right there with you from 05 to 07, 08. This has been a main event at any pay-per-view. So,
and it has been on many pay-per-views, and they were all good. And
for them to compete for the WWE Championship, like at
who
SummerSlam, like what is going? So I tweeted, I said, if this had been 10 years ago, they're doing this at Slammiversary for the TNA title, and now it's SummerSlam for the WWE title. I looked at a stat; it said it's the first time I believe that 2 TNA champions are going to go at it for the WWE Championship. I'd have to look at that stat again.
That's right. I believe that's true.
Which is insane.
Well, and the other thing, too, is that, AJ Styles is the only person to ever hold the WWE Championship, the TNA Championship, and the NWA Championship.
Yep.
Wow. Jeff Jarrett never won the WWE Championship.
Sting at least had a match for the WWE Championship.
Yeah, but he didn't win it. Nope. So, AJ's the only one who's actually owned all 3 titles at one point in his career.
Isn't that crazy? Cool. That I still get that weird feeling like
AJ Styles in WWE, and then I think about it, he's a 2-time WWE champion. Like, time has gone so fast, and the dreams that we've thought that it could have happened, like, it's happening. Like, it's wild. It's
awesome, and he's still the best performer they have on that card, on that whole roster. At 40 years old, he's kicking butt. So
yeah, he's at the top of his game. That's the craziest part.
Yep, it's awesome. So I'm excited for that. That's going to be such a great match. If you have not seen AJ Styles Samoa Joe because you didn't ever give TNA a chance, this is going to blow your freaking mind. You know, you were excited about Shinsuke and AJ. Shinsuke and Joe is what I've been looking for ever since Joe was traded to SmackDown, and now it's happening. So I'm pumped.
You mean AJ Joe?
AJ, yes, sorry, AJ Joe.
I mean, hell, I'll take Shinsuke Joe as well.
That would be a brutal and stiff match.
And I've been reading Nakamura's contract's coming up next year, and what I've read, it seems like a lot of people think he's just going to go, which I don't blame him because I believe his home is in Japan, and I mean that's probably where he's best suited. But I don't know. It seems like even though his positioning on the card might not be the best that WWE's given him, although he's had quality matches and WWE title opportunities. She seems like a pretty over character in general. I don't know. It would be interesting if you leave.
It would suck, I think, because I think he's fantastic. He gets he's got a bigger audience if he stays here in the States than he does in Japan. Even though he's a superstar in Japan, he's getting to that point now in the States where he's a superstar here. I think he would. I don't know how much he makes per se or what the money difference is. I assume he gets paid a good penny in Japan. But he's getting up there in age, and I don't know that they'd highlight him as much when you got the Kenny Omegas and the Young Bucks and all that over there now. I think he's better served staying here in the WWE. But, I mean, again, I don't live thousands of miles away from my home.
That's true.
Working at shows.
It's a whole different ballgame, yeah.
And the schedule in WWE is a lot more intense than what it is over there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Maybe those are factors, too. But I also heard that New Japan's going to make a play at him pretty hard to get him to come
why
back.
Wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely. He's got more name value.
As if that were possible, it's like we could bring even more English viewers over that didn't know about him before, know him now, and now he's going back to what he started with. Like they could definitely bring in some more viewers that way. So I'm already subscribed to New Japan World, so I really care less where he goes. But it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting story. We'll have to see what happens there. The last bit I want to talk about from this is the SmackDown tag team scene. They've got a 4-team tournament to declare the next challengers to the Bludgeon Brothers. And, to me, it just seems stale on the SmackDown side for the tag teams. It's always the Usos, the New Day, and, you just kind of
It's just like it almost seems that once they found the gold that was New Day and the Usos, it's almost like they just couldn't find any more quality tag teams. Now, it sucks that the Bludgeon Brothers are, they're both two great talents, but the gimmick is just not as over as I think WWE wanted it to be. And I don't know, Jason Jordan and Chad Gable could have been, American Alpha could have been a big thing. Now it's all split. And
the Revival, they could be a big thing. They're finally getting some push, at least on Raw, but
it's true.
That could be.
It's almost as if some of the guys on Raw definitely should have been on SmackDown. If they get on SmackDown, they'd have a better chance at doing more. So
well, my thought is that the Bar is going to defeat the Usos this coming week and take on the New Day for the chance, and I think the Bar will go on to face the Bludgeon Brothers. That's my guess on it, and that's who I hope is going to go because that's a new match at least. But we'll have to wait and see. Where are the Good Brothers at now? I mean, how come they're not in this picture?
I don't know. Again, there's more. That's more talent than they know what to do with. And
yet they still put the same teams in there, and it's just like
I know it's almost like they need more teams, but they have plenty of decent teams.
They have plenty of teams.
I don't know. Yeah.
No one's getting TV time, which is annoying to me.
It's like what would they do if there was a tag team only pay-per-view? Where would you put all these tag teams? It's like
they could do a tag team tournament and make it a real good one, but
for sure.
That's not in the cards apparently. Let's talk about NXT, because the last 3 weeks of NXT have been fantastic. I don't know if you caught them all, but 3 weeks ago, the NXT Tag Team Championship match between the Undisputed Era and Mustache Mountain is probably the best psychological match I have seen in WWE in a long time, and it was just a treat to watch.
Did it get 5 from Meltzer? I want to say it got 5.
I don't pay attention to Meltzer, so I don't even know.
Well,
it should have.
I'm pretty sure I heard about it. I did not get to catch it, but now that I've heard so many good things.
Well,
I feel like I'll definitely have to check it out.
Your homework tonight is to fire up the WWE Network and go watch that episode. It's 3 weeks ago. That episode of NXT. Fast forward if you want to that match, but it is so good that it's worth watching. The psychology in that match is off the charts, fantastic. I highly, highly recommend anyone, even if you're not a big NXT guy, go watch it because it's so good. It's the main event, so it's got plenty of time, and they use it so well. Then you got Kairi Sane defeating... who did she wrestle now? I can't even remember. It wasn't.
I don't know.
It wasn't Dakota Kai. It was a 3-way match between Candice LeRae, Kairi Sane, and Nikki Cross. That's what it was. Okay. She wins that match, and now she has the match against Shayna Baszler at TakeOver Brooklyn. This will be the 3rd time that they've wrestled. The first time, obviously, being the Mae Young Classic, which Kairi won. Shayna Baszler defeated her, I think it was back in February. And then now they'll wrestle for the 3rd time in the rubber match for the NXT Women's Championship. I think this will be Shayna Baszler's best match that she's had in a while.
I think so too. I've said it before. I'll say it again. She's what Ronda Rousey needs to look at to really firmly grasp how she performs in the ring or mannerisms and what have you. And I really dig Kairi Sane, though. I'm hoping that she takes this one.
Yeah, I don't know if they're ready to give up on Baszler as champ yet, so I don't know that she will take it, but I agree. Kairi Sane, she's huge over with the crowd. She's a fantastic worker in the ring. The pirate gimmick is a little weird and odd. But
it's great.
She at least plays it up. She does.
It's
she
not
does
like
everything
she's
for it.
Paul Burchill. Come on.
Almost, man.
No,
she's not that far off.
Her elbow.
Her elbow's
is
phenomenal. But she's been doing that before the pirate thing. So, but yeah, I really like Kairi Sane. She's phenomenal to watch. And the other thing is this past NXT, and I haven't watched it yet because I was catching up on the other shows. The match between Tommaso Ciampa and Aleister Black for the NXT Championship. Tommaso Ciampa wins the NXT title.
Yep.
How cool is that?
It is awesome. And I remember watching, it was January 2014, and I watched him live at the Ring of Honor show that was Saturday night before the Royal Rumble in Pittsburgh. And, I mean, he was – I just caught on to who he was and who he was becoming to be. I think he was going for the TV title at the time. I'm not really sure. But thinking about then and thinking about now, and he's just on top of the game. And he's NXT champion now. He's had 2 fantastic matches with Gargano, and, my God, you've got to believe it's going to be a 3rd match coming down the pike.
Especially now that he's got the title, that'll give Gargano more fuel to go after him.
Perfect. Yep.
So I'm looking forward to sitting down and watching that episode of NXT to see the title change because I've heard it was a really good match, and I'm looking forward to Tommaso Ciampa as champion for a little while at least because he's the most over heel they have in that company by a long shot, and he knows exactly how to play it so well.
Yeah, and it's tough in the age of it's cool to be a bad guy. Now, I mean, him, Baron Corbin, guys that really take it, full blown. Like if you're doing an autograph signing, he won't autograph Gargano stuff. He won't he'll anything that's not his in his realm of his character he will not do. And like Baron Corbin won't, he'll always be negative to fans on Twitter in a way for his character. Those guys are really just full blown in that zone, and it's so rare these days. Same with Kevin Owens. he gets liked by a lot of people, but he is very adamant about sticking with that character and being that bad guy that he's trying to portray. So
yeah,
good
absolutely.
on those guys.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see that kind of a dedication to the craft again, because for so long it was gone. Nobody kayfabed anything anymore. And the fans these days are smart, right? So they know that these guys are just being the character that they are. So most of them are going to be like, oh, okay, I get it, whatever. But, I love seeing it. I just love seeing that. And Ciampa on Twitter is fantastic.
Yeah, and it's almost as if the fans who are the fans that will cheer the bad guys and what have you, it's like they know that they're playing the character so well that they're like, all right, we're going to boo you then because you're just earning it.
The other thing he had going for him is he was battling against a guy that's so over as a face in Johnny Gargano.
Yeah,
I mean, that guy's over huge. And
because they had a great tag team and they set it up perfectly.
Oh, they did.
If that booking, if an ounce of that booking came to Raw or SmackDown for one storyline, I'd be satisfied. And they're doing it in NXT to a perfect.
Yeah. And to me, Ciampa Gargano, that's feud of the year right now, hands down.
Oh yeah,
hands down.
Oh yeah, and they're not even done. So
no, hopefully not. Anyway, yeah. So I'm excited. I've seen the whole card for NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, and it looks amazing. Yeah. But these are what have set up so far. These 3 matches, I want to watch. Most of these, and it's going to be fun. The other match I'm really looking forward to is Velveteen Dream. In his match, I don't know if they've set it up yet with EC3, but that's coming down the pike, and that's going to be great as well.
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to be another great NXT card. WWE's going to have their work cut out for him with SummerSlam.
And as we were talking before, they'll have a great NXT card, and they're going to follow it up by Roman Brock 4. That's just
not.
I don't know, man.
Not your best card to lay, but oh well. You never know. I mean, Brock and Roman have had great matches. I'm not.
That's true. I mean, they're not bad matches. It's just the crowd knows what they're getting, and they don't want to. They just like me. They wanted to get it over with. Quit feeding us this just maybe it's gonna happen. Maybe it's gonna happen. And the last couple times, they just go, you know what? Nah, and they kept it on Brock like at WrestleMania. They're just doing whatever the fans pine for, and I think this time they should just suck it up and go for Roman.
They have to. They have to.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little Impact Wrestling. And I don't know if you ever watch Impact at all, but
not recently. I heard so many good things about Slammiversary. I'm very interested to hear what you have to say about TNA at the moment.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not going to spend $40 on a pay-per-view these years, so I did not get Slammiversary. However, I watch TNA pretty much every week now on Impact on Pop since I got Hulu, and that comes with Pop TV now, so I'm very excited because you hardly find it anywhere on any kind of streaming service. But it's been absolutely turned around by the team of Sanjay Dutt, Cyrus, Don Callis, and Scott D'Amore. They have done a phenomenal job of taking the crap that the previous regime had given them and getting storylines away from that stuff, but in a calculated way where they followed through at least on the storylines and then moved them away as quickly as possible. And the storylines that they're coming up with are just awesome. And I've really, really enjoyed the shows all around. Even Josh Matthews, who is not my favorite announcer to listen to.
He is definitely on the lower end of my spectrum. But go ahead.
Yeah, but having Don Callis be his anchor with him has helped make him an even better announcer. He's not as over-the-top annoying as he has been in the past, and Callis really grounds that team. And it's been just really good. They've done a lot of different things now. Their production value and the things that they do on their vignettes are fantastic. It reminds me a lot of the broken Matt Hardy universe type stuff. They're trying to do that type of layout, a lot of the Lucha Underground type of layout, that kind of thing. They've really channeled the Lucha Underground layout for the LAX storylines that they're doing, and the Hardy compound type stuff. They've really done well with the Su Yun character, and they've really made these kind of mini movies that they've incorporated into the show that's been really good. The only thing I really don't enjoy about Impact every week is the GWN flashbacks that they do. Not that it's not fun to relive some great moments in TNA/Impact history, but I just don't want a segment of my new TV to be taken up by a partial match from the global network just to hype that global network. I get that you want people to subscribe and you got to show them what they can get and all things like that, but at some point it just becomes annoying to take me out of the current storylines and throw me back into something in 2011 or 2005 or whatever, and just throw me off my game, because that's what it really does to me. So I usually end up fast forwarding through that stuff, because most of it I've already seen. Some of it I haven't. A lot of the later years of TNA I did not get to see because I didn't have an outlet for it. But it's just not something I need. So if I wish they'd take that off.
It's funny though. If Raw didn't have all those annoying commercials and instead said, "Hey, look what happened in WCW in 1998 on the network. Please buy." I'd like that. But I agree on your point there. If they're trying to promote the new product on TNA, you don't really want to go back and highlight the old. But I understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It just throws me out of the game. If they're going to do it, maybe do it towards the end of the show. I mean, that's not really how you want to close your show either, but I don't know. True. There's got to be a better way to do it than that. Maybe promote that you have a full match available for free on your website. You can go watch Samoa Joe and AJ Styles from X pay-per-view for free right now, courtesy of the Global Wrestling Network, and promote it there maybe. I don't know. But either way, you mentioned Slammiversary. It got rave reviews, really good reviews from everyone who I've seen talk about it. Everything I saw online has been great. And the biggest thing I think for them, this venue that they're in, the Rebel Complex, looks cool. I mean, I don't know if you've seen pictures of it yet, but it's completely a different type of vibe. It's got a real neat ribbony type display that goes all the way around the arena on the second level, and it allows them to do all sorts of fun things with that. And then just the configuration they had is different, and it just looks cool. The report is that they got almost close to 2,000 people in there for Slammiversary, and they sold every seat that they had, which is absolutely great for them. I don't think they got that many for the TV taping, so I don't know how they kind of compacted people in that way. Maybe they closed off the upper balcony or whatever, but just a really cool-looking arena. They're there for the next several shows, because they're going back August 12th to tape another set of tapings in Toronto. So they did the Slammiversary pay-per-view, and then they taped, I think, 2 or 3 days in Toronto. And they're going back in mid-August, to tape another set of shows. So that arena is going to be used several times now on TV. It's awesome. And I wish they could stay there. I know that the company is based out of Canada, and they probably could, if they wanted to, move it to Toronto, but that's not what they're going to do. The other big news is that they announced the location for Bound for Glory, which is their quote-unquote biggest pay-per-view of the year. Slammiversary is their second biggest pay-per-view. Bound for Glory is their biggest one. It's where all their main storylines converge. They're going to go to New York, and they're going to a place called the Melrose Ballroom. Do you know anything about the Melrose Ballroom?
I don't know anything.
Okay, so the Melrose Ballroom has been used by a bunch of companies throughout the years, most recently by Major League Wrestling, MLW. They just held their tapings there, and the show that airs right now is at the Melrose Ballroom. It's their big Battle Riot, huge Battle Royal type thing, right? And everything I've seen, though, this is a really tiny place, really small. It's got 2 levels, but not a whole lot of seating. And based on what I saw on their website, for a wedding or a ballroom type configuration, they can have 450 seats laid out. So you put a wrestling ring in the middle there, and that takes away some of those seats. Their capacity with standing room is 800. So imagine going from a place where you got 2,000 people down to a place where you're going to have maybe 400 to 500 people in there. And it looks really tight when they have the crowd around the ring. So I'm very curious as to why they picked, number one, the Melrose Ballroom, probably because it was available and it's New York. But it just seems like they're going to not be able to do as well as they could for a pay-per-view like Bound for Glory.
Well, I mean, that'll be interesting to see how that turns out. So, I mean, when TNA, we've talked about TNA for years as, is this the last year for TNA? And no one really wants it to go. You don't want to see a company go down in the tubes, you know? So, because, you know, there's a lot of guys that have jobs, and we all know that WWE is not going to be the only place for, you know, top-level talent. They're not going to sign everybody. So, it's really refreshing to see that Impact has been turning it around lately, had a great Slammiversary turnout, is doing well, better with creative and their TV side, and I don't know. I'm excited to see that they're doing this because Ring of Honor has been up in their game, and now TNA can up their game. It's nice to have competition. Yeah,
the biggest thing for Impact, and it's no longer TNA, the biggest thing for Impact that they need to do
It'll always be TNA to me.
They need to get off this Pop TV. The Pop TV limits their audience, and I know Pop's been a really good partner for them and really great, but when you can't get your TV station out to the masses like you could when you were on Spike or some other channels, they need to really work hard on getting a better TV deal for themselves. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to grow. You know, the biggest thing that happened to them was losing Spike TV, and ever since they lost Spike TV, they've really had a hard time making money, getting an audience, having eyeballs on them. It makes it difficult to do. And when you're putting out great stuff like they are right now, they have been since approximately January, putting out great shows, it sucks that people can't see it, you know? And I know they're trying to utilize YouTube. They're really trying to work with Twitch to bring all that kind of stuff, but you can only go so far. If you can't get people watching on your TV sets or through your DVRs, it's going to limit what your audience potential can be, and then, of course, limit your revenue options. And
that's true. I mean, but for now, I mean, this is what they have, and I'm hoping that.
And it looks like we lost Juicy there. I think maybe his phone went dead. So that's okay. What I think he was going to say is, you know, use what you have now. Try to get your name out there, all that kind of stuff. And that's going to be great for them. I think that's going to work. What what Impact Wrestling really needs to focus on is making themselves profitable. Oh, did we get you back?
Yeah, we're back. What happened?
It sounded like you dipped out and died off there. I thought maybe your phone died.
No, it said it was on hold. I don't know what that meant. It said the call was on hold. I don't know what was the last part you caught me with there.
You were just about to say what they need to do.
Oh, I was saying that I think they need to just use this Pop TV as a crutch, I guess, almost, just to get to that next level of TV. And I agree that if they're creative and everything has been going well and they keep doing well with TV and their pay-per-views, I think they can eventually, you know, earn that new deal down the line. So I'm hoping that they can.
Yeah, and I think there's a few key things they need to do. Number one, they have to lower the price of their pay-per-views. You're not going to get people to pay $40 to watch a pay-per-view once every 4 months. You can say, hey, but you're paying that to get WWE pay-per-views. I'm getting 4 of them, not just one. You got to bring your price down. $15, I might throw $15 down to watch a pay-per-view. $20, I'll consider it if the card looks good.
That's not
but
bad.
Anything,
$20 or $15, that's an in-your-house pay-per-view. And
exactly.
We're getting 3.5 hours now instead of 2. I like that idea. Go ahead.
Yeah, anything more than that, I'm not going to probably spend my money on it, even no matter what it is. So they need to do that. The second thing is they need to work on finding a good TV partner with a good audience. And that's it. And I think Impact can succeed. They've got the right people in place now to do that. So I think that's about all the time we have for tonight, Juice. So I want to thank you for joining me tonight, and we'll look forward to talking. Actually, next week we may not have a show because it is my birthday. So,
well, we'll celebrate by not having the show.
Yeah, well, you know, that's kind of what you do. So,
yeah, definitely.
Possibility of no show next week, more than likely not. So, if not, we'll see you the week after. So, have a great night. Thank you for listening.
It is exhausting being so talented.